Hey there, y'all! So who doesn't like superhero movies that have a little horror in it, right? The last day I was scrolling through Prime Video and got recommended a quite interesting horror movie, The Veloscipastor. This movie tells a story about a priest who inherits a mysterious superpower that will change his life forever. It has a 67 rating on the Rotten Tomatoes, so I decided to watch it. But the plot, it turned out to be something I didn't expect at all. It has everything. Bad acting, cheap but great visual effects, shots where you can see the boom mic on the edge of a frame, and Christian ninjas sell illegal substances for a greater good. It's raining outside, perfect time for a spooky movie. So welcome to the show where we turn into a monster, I guess. Let's do this. So the movie starts off with a scene where the priest, a protagonist, aka hero, preaches the gospel and ends his prayer with the weirdest camera angle possible. Then he walks out of a church with the most positive music ever that makes you think, alright, nothing bad will happen. He sees his parents and waves at them like a 5-year-old for some reason. And they both just wave back without saying anything. The parents just waving like, hey, but just standing there in silence and stare at their son. Like, it looks like a family photo, right? But their last family photo. Because now we get introduced to the great visual effects the film industry has ever seen. Now that I call great visual effects. Like, just imagine the movie started to do visual effects just like that.
Who are you? You aren't supposed to be on the show.
I am Batman. Nice to meet you, Batman. Justice forgotten.
Because the car of his parents just explodes and leaves our hero traumatized, he starts to lose his faith to God. But Father Stewart, his mentor, will talk to him to make him feel better after the tragic event that just occurred.
Parents died, Doug. It's what parents do. They die on you.
That is exactly what you say to someone who just lost his parents. That's what parents do. They just die on you. Like, what? Since the protagonist starts to question his faith, Father Stewart suggests him to travel the world and see how people all around the world live.
Travel?
But I'm sure he will go after the funeral of his parents, right? Or after the police arrive so he can testify and the police can find the guys who are responsible for the death of his parents, right? No? Oh, okay. So Doug hits the road until he arrives in
China,
where he witnesses a Chinese woman being murdered by an arrow that was shot by this assassin who didn't even draw the string properly. Now that shows how good this assassin is. So this woman gives Doug an ancient stone and tells him to destroy it. This is where all the action starts. So while he walks backwards to get away from the assassin who just waits to just release the string apparently, Doug's hand slides through the branches and the stone cuts his hand. Just like that. Like, I don't know the logic behind that. The branch lightly touches your hand and whoosh, you cut your palm. Like, how? And the stone doesn't even look that sharp on the sides either, but whatever. There are things that should be kept a secret. But this stone isn't an ordinary ancient stone. No, it's a stone that gives you superpowers. Now I'm curious how he will escape the assassin, right? And he suddenly wakes up. Now, the transition was so weird at first that it confused me and made me think if he really traveled to China or if all that was just a nightmare all along. But I saw that stone on the nightstand and was like, how did he escape the assassin back then? I really wanted to know. I really wanted to see that, you know? Guess we'll never know.
Hello.
Now we meet two new characters, the one being a criminal who does anything that pleases him, and Carol, who will later join our hero. Alright, but now we get to see a badass transformation and we'll see what dogs' superpowers are. I just love these visual effects, alright. Now Carol, the girl we saw earlier with the criminal, goes to the park for some business matters. But it turns out it was a setup to get her to the park to rob her. But conveniently enough, our hero was in the park and finally we get to see his superpowers because, as you guessed it, he saves her by shredding the robot to pieces. And yes, dog can become a dinosaur. You didn't expect that, did you? Now he's a dinosaur. A priestosaurus, if you will. So like every sane person would do in this circumstance, Carol decides instead of running away of a monster you just witnessed killing a man, to take him back to her place. Then we get to witness this awkward moment of these two, but as it seems, she loved those powers of his and wants to use it to fight bad people.
You guys talk all the time about helping people. This might actually be the first time in your life you can.
What? By killing people?
Yes!
But Doug is overwhelmed by all of this as expected and tells her that he has to do confessions and just runs away to the church.
Doug!
I have to do confessions.
Right now?
Yes, right now!
The dress fits him perfectly. But now things get even more interesting because we got to meet the person who actually killed his parents. What still is a mystery why they got blown up in the first place.
This fucking old couple, I blew up their car.
You murdered it.
So apparently, Frankie Mermaid killed his parents and he was so smart to just come to the church where he blew up the parents of a priest of this church.
Actually, it was right in front of this church.
Not smart at all, buddy. He should have made the confession somewhere else. As expected, Doug can't control his anger and turns into a half priestosaurus, where he sends the murderer of his parents directly to the place Frankie sent his parents to. But at least he granted Frankie his last wish, right?
Well, just kill me now.
Okay!
That okay had a lot of passion in it. He goes to Carol to tell her what just happened, and she gets happy hearing that news, and they both agree on terms on hunting down bad guys for the greater good.
We'll only hurt bad people.
Only the worst.
They find similar things they don't know much about.
I don't know much about God.
I don't know much about dinosaurs.
I thought that at first he was still worried to use his superpowers of becoming a dinosaur, but this convinced me that I was wrong. Yeah, that's something we all can relate to, right? But I still have a question though. We watched the movie until here, but there were 3 murders in this small town, I would assume. But where is the sheriff? What happened to all these bodies? Why does nobody ask for anybody? Again, why were his parents killed? Guess we need to watch a little more to get our answers. So he learns more about dinosaurs and she learns more about God. He trains to get stronger, even though it won't matter because he turns into a dinosaur every freaking time. But I'm happy for them, since they are happy. Now, you might be thinking that all the weird random stuff just ended. Nope, it didn't. Because a new threat is introduced now, and I must say they look terrifying. Meet the drug-selling Christian ninjas. So whoever came up with that idea, props to him. We all were getting bored with the stereotypical view that ninjas were just cold-blooded assassins, right? So the master is questioning this very Northeast Asian-looking ninja why the money stopped flowing in. And as it seems, there is a dragon warrior who has the power to beat 10 men with ease.
Some dragon warrior. They say you can take on 10 men at a time.
I wonder who that might be. Yes, our hero Doc. I just love how these two ninjas just kick in the air like that. That seems like a pretty heavy workout there. Gotta admit that, buddy. So keep kicking it. But one thing begs the question, how did these rumors came out if Doc didn't even fight the many men yet? Truly, they don't tell that, but at least we will see now if the rumors are true. Because these ninjas don't play around. Even if they laugh, they fight to be the last one to make the evil laugh. So these ninjas have a higher mission, what we will learn later. So everything went according to plan for Doug and Carol. They got closer and all, but Father Stewart got more worried each day. So he decides to go ask Doug directly.
You're reading, I see. Yes. Time spent in silent servitude.
I love how he hides the cover of the book just with another book. Not suspicious at all. Not suspicious at all, yeah.
Your chronic absence worries me.
Now Doug doesn't want to hide the truth from Father Stewart and asks him how he would feel when Doug himself was different and one of its kind.
What if I told you that I was different?
And as the supportive man we know Father Stewart is, he tells him,
You're not that different. There are plenty of men like that in the church.
this man absolutely knows how to humble every man. So because Doug insisted being different, Father Stewart gave him church arrest until they get the demon out that allegedly, in Father Stewart's eyes, possessed Doug. While Doug waits for a word from Father Stewart, he thinks of his parents and what they would think of his ability to turn into a dinosaur and eat everyone he finds bad enough to be worth getting between his teeth.
If you find yourself lost in the woods, you can't hear his voice, just follow your heart. Your heart will always lead you back home.
So I don't think that his father meant follow your heart that way Doug interpreted it to be.
I'm so proud of you, Doug. You're my only son.
But guess can't blame him since the sheriff in town is long gone. So he took the matter in his own jaw. I know, thank you. So Father Stewart takes Doug to an exorcist he knows but isn't really fond of.
Stewart, it's been years.
Not enough, perhaps.
Dude, he's ruthless. Like, what? No matter who you are, Father Stewart gives a damn. He just makes you feel as he pleases you to feel, alright? And he doesn't play around, boy.
I haven't had to come to Altair in years. Not since the war.
But Father Stewart wasn't always like this. Thankfully, we get a backstory to learn more about him. Father Stewart was once a sergeant in the Vietnamese War. Before he decided to become a priest, he had a girlfriend he wanted to marry. His best war buddy, Ollie, told Stewart that when he gets back and has 11 kids, that he wishes Sergeant Stewart to name one of them after him.
I want you to name one of them after me. Ali.
And tell them that his name is the name of this war buddy, Ali, who didn't even get shot one single time during the war.
One who made it through the whole war without taking a single hit. And managed to do it with a smile.
Of course, until now. Ali gets shot and dies in an instant. The fact that he's still puffing after his death, mad respect, buddy. Also, there was only one specific shot, and then there's nothing. Only war sounds from far behind.
War is war, and war is hell, and hell never changes.
But like, why doesn't the enemy open fire to the other soldiers, you know? Because there's again a mystery that will stay unsolved. Also, does Sergeant Stewart wear his helmet backwards? Didn't they see this during filming? Dude, this movie just makes me ask more and more questions and barely answers any. Alright, now Sergeant writes a letter to Ali's mom and dad by addressing them Ali's mom and dad. That's how you address your friends' mom and dad. There's no better way to do that, since they have no surnames, right?
Hey James, meet my mom and dad. Hi Ali's mom and dad. My surname is Badawi. Badawi's mom and dad.
Yes, see, no weirdness in that. As Stewart sat there overthinking about the incident, he hears a familiar voice calling his name.
James!
Adeline?
It was Adeline. Yes, his true love came to visit him during war. Yeah. How did she get there? What is she doing in the middle of the woods of Vietnam? It's another mystery, I presume. They just keep giving you these throughout the whole movie. Whatever. They seem pretty happy, so I won't be questioning anything in this beautiful moment.
Adeline!
James!
Adeline runs to the arms of his beloved James, and James just standing there calling her name. What a beautiful moment indeed. They will hug and James will forget all the traumatic events that happened in this war, right?
James!
And there she goes. Another explosion. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you make a movie. I don't know what the writer's obsession is with blowing up people that people genuinely care about, but I'm actually impressed that James didn't felt the blast and stood there and catched his girlfriend. At least what's left of her. And his team seems pretty clever and supportive too.
Another goddamn VC trip mine.
I don't think we can do anything for her now. She's too far gone.
What do you think she was doing in the forest?
Now we know where he got that attitude from. So let's get back to the exorcism.
Le cure Pierto Morfeo.
So they tie Doc's hand and start the ceremony, and Doc turns into the Priestosaurus again.
Doug!
What stuns Stewart and makes him start worrying about himself, I would assume. As if witnessing the whole thing wasn't enough, Doc decides to make Fat Stewart experience all that by simply taking his eyeball. Now that's what I call true horror. But for some reason, all the characters in this movie have that evil laugh they do after every scene.
What have I done?
Now the first encounter of Doc and the ninjas happens, and they are truly trained for this fight. Especially this Korean guy.
You head left, down the side. I'm gonna use my famous water.
요진이 항상 나한테 말해주었지. 이렇게 될 것이라고.
Choi Min is going to spring to the tree there.
광주에서는 우리가 학생이었을 때
I'm pretty sure dinosaurs can't look up.
그때는 내가 그녀를 결혼할 줄 알았지.
The dog just screams and all the ninjas die by a red light. What was that? Was that an atomic breath? So has Dog now become Godzilla? Like, can he now burn down the whole town? Because if he can, he should, since there's no sheriff in town. The dog is too dangerous, so he makes a wise decision. By going to Carol's place like everyone would do. But I don't know why he covered the whole place with newspaper. Like, he makes it seem like he's a homeless man now. What is the point of that? Seriously, those newspapers make him calm down after reading the news about his crimes? Guess we'll never know that either. So, Doc thinks he killed Father Stewart.
I think I killed him, Carol.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
What is understandable. After all, everyone who seems to care for Doc dies in this movie. So he tells her that he's afraid to hurt Carol, but she assures him that he won't.
You're not gonna hurt me.
How do you know?
How do you know, Carol? You don't know what he's capable of. We see some passionate scenes. But the ninjas won't give up that easily, and they want the revenge, baby. So they surprise attack them in the morning. They just get beaten up again.
Who are you working for?
So wait, you're telling me that 3 ninjas who've been working their entire life to assassin people get beaten up by a man and a woman who just are new to this game? Like, Dog didn't transform into a dinosaur. So how did Dog learn to fight like that? Besides that, why are they screaming while entering the room? They could have just assassinated them in silence. And aren't ninjas attacking mostly at night? That's why they wear black. Like, this scene doesn't make any sense. It hurts my brain. But who am I to judge, right? I mean, I'm not a ninja. Nor am I a Pristosaurus. But what I'm interested in is, what is the goal of these ninjas? Why are they after them, right? Thankfully, we get the answer now, because somehow Father Stewart is still alive and wakes up in this ninja camp. Instead of having a bandage covering the wound, he just has an eye patch. Really badass, Now look, I don't know how he ended up there, alright? But I'm impressed how Father Stewart has recovered of losing an eye in just one night. Guess the sergeant he was still lives in him. Also, one of the confusing things in this movie is, like, how does everyone understand Mandarin in this movie?
Where am I?
新澤西啊，呢度係開智開光 Some Artemimus Academy.
You know, like, it isn't an easy language, you know? Is Father Stewart also Chinese? I wouldn't be surprised if it was. So, the master is apparently also a priest. So he has a plan that he likes to show Father Stewart.
弗勒啲兄弟同煲同撈打生打死，目的就係一個揾食。
he explains the reason why drugs are important to this plan.
What does drug smuggling have to do with Christianity?
Everything.
Dude in the background is pretty convinced in this plan, like, dude, calm down. So these Christian ninjas want to use drugs to make people addicted and then cut it off. The master believes that will make people go to the help group and then everyone will be Christian again. Now that, my friend, I call a master plan. Or a master's plan. But Father Stewart doesn't like that plan.
You can't do this. The Christian faith is what I believe with all my heart, but you cannot forcibly convert the unwilling. That's madness.
So only way to solve controversy for the ninjas is to send Father Stewart there where Doc's loved ones belonged since the beginning of the movie.
That's inhuman!
Father Stewart survived the dinosaur attack just to die in the hands of a priest. What a plot twist, dude. Now, if you think all the crazy stuff just ended, oh boy, let me tell you, you're wrong. So, Doc arrives at the camp again, don't know how, but Doc finds out that his brother Sam joined the ninjas.
Remember me now?
Brother!
So wait, wasn't Doc the only son? Did he have a brother all along? This movie is really full of surprises. So apparently, the brother was left out pretty much in the family. No wonder, dude. He is creeping around like everywhere. Even on that day before their parents died, he just stretches his neck out of the trunk with this look on his face. So wait, did Sam order Frankie to blow up the car of his parents?
Tell me who ordered their deaths! I have no idea how far they reaches, Padre. They got their claws and everything here.
He might have. Too bad there aren't any officers to investigate that matter. Just imagine knowing someone like that. He creeps out everywhere. So I get it. He wants vengeance for all these years growing up knowing his family had forgotten him over his brother Doc.
So proud of you, Doc. You're my only son.
And he is ready to fight his only family he has left, Doc.
For God!
They fight. Sam looks at the sword and thinks on grabbing it. Doc prevents that by simply turning into Thor. Yep, I am not surprised anymore. Like, what kind of superhero is Doc? I thought he just was a priest who could turn into a dinosaur, but now he also possesses magic? Alright, I get it. That's dope. Let's go. Now Sam will give up after seeing his powers, right? Nope. Doc's inner monster is already awakened, so instead giving his brother Sam one last chance to run away, he kills him. I truly didn't see that coming. And he also is happy about it. Look how he smiles. That makes me question, is Doc really the hero here? So they beat again all the well-trained ninjas, but like I said, these ninjas don't play around. They had backup from one ninja that just waited for his time, I guess. Carol gets hit by this ninja sword and falls on the ground. But it's funny that all these ninjas now feel bad for hurting her. The one who used his sword against Carol just holds his mouth and like, shit, how did this happen? How could a katana cut through a person? Just look at their face. They're like, how could we do this? They even start to cry, dude. I feel sad for them. Were they forced to join the ninjas? That's when a ninja gets a stigma. Yes! Now Carol is dead, and that makes Doc really mad. Those faces, I can't do that. I don't even know what to say. So, know what happens when Doc gets mad? It turns into a dinosaur. Yes, let's go. He simply goes back and forth at first until starting to hurt these ninjas. I love that little humpback. See, you literally can see that it's Dog that became the dinosaur. Like his head just shows that there's actually a person in there. And I love that. Nice work. So he kills all the ninjas, but he forgot about the master who shoots an arrow that has anti-venom for Dog's powers. So he turns back human again. The master mocks him, but Dog tells him that the anti-venom didn't work on his hands.
I think my hand is immune.
So he simply borrows Master's head from his body so that the Master turns into a mannequin. Nice. Because the final boss was the weakest of them all. So we find out that Carol is still alive. What I'm pretty sure she died on the field. But the writer just wants to mess with us. So I give him that. I did accomplish that. We never find out who ordered Frankie to kill Doc's parents and why. But I stand with my initial thought that Sam is the #1 suspect.
My only son.
But who knows, right? And yeah, by the way, this might be the worst horror science fiction movie, but it's not bad when you watch it to have a funny and silly time. It is so bad that it is good. It won't make sense on some points, but it makes you laugh, alright? And that's what counts. So that's pretty much the end of the movie. Hope you liked this video. If you didn't join our family yet, make sure to subscribe and turn the notification on. It isn't as hard as doing the LSAT in 1 week, I would assume. And here is another video just for you and what I think you might like. And yes, see you next time. Bye.